Welcome to the Atrium. This is a Hope Christian Church podcast. My name is Neal, and I'm the lead pastor here at Hope, and this fine gentleman is...
My name's Chad. I'm the student pastor here.
And this is episode 108. And on today's episode, we are without Mark, but we are still going to podcast. We're going to do it. We're going to take a look at a video where a guy is basically saying, this is the type of church you need to go to. And then we're going to answer a question that we've answered in the past. It's been a long time, so we thought we might go over it again. But what happens to kids when the Lord takes them home, when the Lord lets them die? Kind of a heavy topic for sure. But before we get into all of that, we're back. My goodness.
We got to do it. we gotta get one in.
Something. Yeah. Yeah, because you're gone next week, right, Edwin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on vacation next week, so...
If you could train me on everything back there real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Edwin's trying to squeeze two out of us this week.
Trying.
We'll see. Maybe we can do that.
We could go back to back today.
Oh, we could. Are you prepared for that?
We'll do it.
Mentally?
We'll do it.
Have you had enough food today to sustain?
Skipping lunch.
I need more glycogen if I'm going to...
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to get involved in this type of thing. We might be able to do it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But we've been out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
This past week, I was sick. I was out of the office most of the week, and I still don't feel great. Still dealing with, that congestion. Henry got a cold. I think Sunday night, we realized he had come down with a cold. And Sunday night, we're in bed. And he said something. And whatever word he said, I don't remember what the word was, but it had a lot of the letter P in it. And when he said P, about 6 gallons of spit came out of his mouth, and just right into mine, because we were very, very close. It was like when Ledger sneezes in the face. Henry did the same thing, and I thought, well, maybe I'll escape this.
Yeah.
But by Monday night, like within 24 hours, I felt like absolutely awful. But it was his last week of school, so. He had already missed 65 hours of school because we had that crazy sickness, right? Yeah. So he had a fever for 16 days. And if you get to 72 hours, it's habitual truancy. And then they got to get an action team. The school gets like an attendance action team.
Pretty cool sounding.
Well, it's not. It's actually, because then it can go to court. Yeah.
Oh, not so cool.
And then you got to do like these parenting classes, and then the kid has to go to class. And it's interesting because the school system says, well, if your child has a fever, they can't go back to school for 24 hours. But your child's only allowed to miss 65 hours of school. And I mean, Henry had a legit fever for 16 days. I mean, I was out. So we basically, and this is terrible, and we felt terrible to do this, but like we had to send him to school and he didn't feel good. So in the car, as we're dropping him off, he's taking like a double shot of ibuprofen, just trying to get through the day. The poor kid. And we don't want to do that because we don't feel like it's the best thing for him. It's certainly not the best thing for the other kids in the class. But at the same time, like we don't want a year's worth of classes. And so, yeah, it was tough. And one day, first day we sent him, he was, you could tell. When we went to pick him up in line, his eyes were all heavy. He got in the car, and I'm like, how was it? He's like, well, that was a huge waste of time. Yeah. He was like, I was exhausted. I couldn't think. He's like, I had to sit down on a bench at recess because I had no energy to play. Yeah. He's like, I got to go to school tomorrow. And I'm like, yep. Yeah, we got to get you there.
His last day, right?
He's done now. Yeah, he was done on Thursday.
School's out.
We were at the pool, which is why I look like a tomato right now. We went that one day. It was 65 degrees and sunny, and I thought, yeah, I don't need probably sunscreen on a day like today. Man, just got fried. I haven't burned in a while.
You know better.
Yeah. So we didn't podcast last week because I was sick. Week before that, you guys had some stuff going on. Week before that, what was it? I don't even remember.
Don't even remember.
Probably another sickness.
Something.
Nemeth 25.
Oh, Mark.
Always there.
Yeah, Mark preached, remember? And then he preached when he was under the weather. So I don't know what's going on. But we're back today, episode 108. Mark's out for the next couple of weeks on some type of vacation, staycation. And I thought, Chad and I haven't spent much quality time together on camera in a while.
Yeah, we're not looking for your replacement, Mark.
No.
Wink, wink.
He's not going to listen to this.
Yeah, no.
There's no way.
You won't even care.
Nope. He forgot all about it. He's like Ron Swanson when he goes to Home Depot. The guy's like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "I know more than you."
Yeah.
Mark, that's what Mark's view is on this.
That is him.
On this podcast, he knows more, and he probably
It's his
does.
spirit animal.
It is. Right. Baby snow owl. That's it. How you doing, Edwin? How you feeling?
Good.
You're going on vacation, right?
Yep.
Where are you going?
We're going down to Kentucky. We're going to see the recreation of the Ark. So it should be a fun trip.
Have you done that yet?
They're
No,
going to build it
never.
live.
Right. Are you going to put Christmas lights on the Ark?
Yes.
Oh, you should.
You should.
That would
I
be
bet you
cool.
could do that. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine it? They might do that already.
Yeah.
We might have just come up with an idea they're already doing, but wouldn't you just light the garbage out of that thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't imagine
Do so
your
much with it.
super light brain. You went to a Christmas light conference, right?
Yep.
Over
Yeah.
the weekend a little bit. And you taught a class.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't know, Edwin and his family, but mostly Edwin. Can I say that? It's mostly you that's
Yeah, me and my dad.
you and your dad. Yeah. Have an incredible Christmas light display at their house. Like this is a destination display, I would say.
Yeah.
And
I've
it
gone
is
the past several years.
Yeah, there's music and lights, and the lights are, can you say choreographed? Is that what
Yeah.
you would say?
Talking trees.
Choreographed, synchronized.
Synchronized, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something else. Was your dad into this and then you got into it?
I like decorating for Halloween at our old house, and then we moved, and my dad was like, "Well, if we're gonna do something big, let's do it for Christmas."
Yeah, let's do it for the Lord's holiday,
Right.
not the devil's.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good parenting, right?
Yeah.
It's just good parenting.
I didn't know he was a big Halloween fan.
I didn't either. This
Learn
is
stuff here.
No.
Yeah.
Homeschool.
Yeah. Are you a big Halloween fan still?
Not so much now, but we
Yeah.
still decorate and do a light show for it. But
Yeah, okay.
we try to make it kid friendly.
Yeah, less spooky.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we moved into the new house and said, well, if we're going to do anything, we might as well start now. Might as well start our legacy at the new place. So
So do you just go out and just gangbusters, like just spend, because this is expensive stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so what, you just piece it together over the years?
yeah, so it was COVID, so we had nothing to do. So this is where this started. And we started with 800 lights on the house, and now we're in our 5th year, and I think we have close to 30,000. So yeah.
You can see it from space now.
Soon. Yeah.
So is all this, and you don't have to disclose this because I don't want anybody robbing you guys. Is this in your basement?
Where's it stored?
Where do you put it? Several locations throughout the state of Ohio?
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't had to buy a storage unit yet.
Okay.
Very close, though.
You're getting there, yeah.
But we have like the garage rack so you can put up in your ceiling. We have 4 of those in our garage, so we're hoping that the ceiling doesn't fall down.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And then the basement.
Wow.
So.
So anyways, you're going to the Ark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Ark.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. You haven't been to the Ark yet?
I haven't gone there yet. No.
I want to go.
Yeah.
I think Henry would like that. I bet Ledger would like that. I feel like he might.
Maybe.
He's pretty small.
We've thought more of it as a youth event. So
That's a great idea.
because it's not far from that Bible museum too, right?
Yeah.
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 Just making a day of it.
Yeah. I hear that you should go to the Bible Museum day 1.
Yeah.
Because it's wildly underwhelming
Oh.
after the Ark. Like this is what I've heard.
That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yes. Yeah.
And this would be the Bible.
Right. Yeah. It's just one Bible.
All right. We'll see you later.
Right. Right. Yeah. No.
Nice leather one.
Where's animatronic Moses?
Yeah. Right.
Which, by the way, would be a great podcast title if we were still silly podcast.
Oh,
animatronic Moses.
Yeah. Great TikTok handle.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard, if you go to the Ark first, you go to the Bible Museum, you're just like, ooh, okay. It's just some good information, but it's not the wow factor.
Okay.
I'd imagine it'd
Good
be
to
like
know.
starting with dessert before your meal. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of what it feels like. But you guys staying down there?
Yeah.
This is what, 4-hour drive? Something like
4 or 5 hour drive. We're actually staying in Indiana because it's right in those border crossings.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're renting an Airbnb and we're going with some friends. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Nice.
should be fun.
Yeah. That you guys try to do family vacation every year?
We try to.
Yeah.
Depends on the year
Yeah.
and what's going on. So
Yeah, we're hoping to do a tradition like that, and with the three of us, it's just hard finding the time and the places. It's so hard to travel with Henry because he's got these doggone food allergies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just and he doesn't even want to go to Cedar Point sometimes. He's like, how far of a drive is it? Like it's 40 minutes. Man.
Not interested.
Yeah, he's like, it's not worth the trip to me.
I've got an iPad.
That's not too far.
I'll play
off.
Roller Coaster Tycoon right here.
I got in a passive aggressive fight with Ledger on Sunday. Sunday.
He'll always win.
Well,
You don't want to get in that fight.
no, he did kind of win. I was standing by the door. We had a line of 400 people, something like that, in line for food
Oh, yeah.
for a Sunday fun day, and I never get a chance to really. I stand at the front door, and kind of the same people come up to you. So I thought I'm going to force these people to talk to me. And I wanted to make a connection with everybody. And so I stood right in the line.
Yeah.
And I talked to all 400 people. I think I was up there for what, hour and 20 minutes?
All 400 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that because I don't get a chance to talk to everybody. And, I just want to make a connection with people. So here comes Liz and Ledger and, talking to Liz a little bit. And I'm by the door, and the door is held with a small rock. And Ledger he looks down. He's like, oh, take this rock out. He takes the rock out. Door starts to close. And so he answers, and Liz takes it. He gives the rock back, and I put the rock back in there. And he's like, that doesn't go there.
That's my rock now.
And so he goes down, he goes around the backside of it, he looks at it, he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and take that out again.
Yeah.
He takes it out again. I was like, oh, bud, we need to keep the door open.
This was propping the door?
It was propping the door.
Oh.
Yeah, which begs the question, why don't we have something else to prop the door besides a rock?
yeah, we have better ways.
They unlock.
Yeah. I found it to be adorable because he's
Yeah.
just like, I don't want that there.
Yeah.
And I didn't blame him because it really didn't belong there. He wanted it to go back with the other rocks, and then he looked down at a bug, and she's like, "Oh, you're looking at a bug," and he pulls the rock again.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm just gonna hold the rock until I get him inside."
That is the tip of the iceberg of the stubbornness of my 4-year-old.
Oh, that's every kid.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great, but yeah, it reminded me of something Henry would do because he's like, that doesn't go there.
Yeah.
Let me help you out. Let me
Yeah.
get rid of that for you. And
I'm in
like,
charge here.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it was. But no, it's great to see them. And yeah, Sunday was Sunday Fun Day, and we wound up
Sunday. How much humidity?
95.9%.
Yeah, it felt like we were in a cloud.
It was something. All over the map. So it was raining in the morning. They had to come set up the bouncy houses at 11, and it was raining at 11. We knew they weren't going to do it because
Yeah.
of the weather policy, and so we wound up having to cancel those because you don't want to.
Did they give us a backup date like some do?
No, what we do in that point is we pay a cancellation fee,
Yeah.
which they deeply discounted for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that credit goes to like trunk or treat.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was kind of touch and go with the weather, and the day before was just absolutely beautiful. And so we wound up just setting up some games for the kids, and we didn't know if anybody was going to come or show up. And
Yeah.
Kevin said that I think they were probably close to 500 people that came, which is great.
Yeah.
Especially because of the weather.
Wow. They did not like potato salad.
No.
We had too many. We had so much potato salad left over.
Yeah. Well, they've spoken.
Yeah. They've
Yeah.
spoken.
Yeah. And we had the Kona ice truck here, and yeah, it wound up being it was hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great just to be able to talk to people and see the kids running around with the shaved ice and all that stuff. And, and they played volleyball, and we had a few games set up. But yeah, it wound up turning out really nice. And I didn't think we had like a ton of leftover food, but it sounds like some potato salad was not
Yeah.
a hot.
We will. Yeah. We now know.
Yeah.
For 500 people, we don't need that much potato
I
salad.
feel like have we done potato salad in the past?
Yeah.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it's a hard pass for some people. Like I had a high schooler. We put potato salad and coleslaw out that was left for that Sunday night youth group. We had like our own schools out party this past Sunday night right after that. And that was well attended too. But I was like, dude, eat the potato salad. It's so good.
Yeah.
And you heard
good?
You heard some high schoolers, specifically this 15-year-old girl was like, oh, no, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I didn't know people had that hard of a take on potato salad.
I kind of feel like they do.
They do.
I think it's a love-hate. There's not, no, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Edwin,
I love it.
Let's guess. I would say he hates potato salad.
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
You like it?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
You hate it?
Yeah.
It's trash.
I don't think yeah.
I don't think I've ever had it. I wouldn't even look at it.
But you can't make salad out of potatoes.
Yeah.
Where's the lettuce?
Man.
So you've had it and hate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you did have it, yeah.
I'm going to say you also hate macaroni salad.
What in the world?
No, I don't think I've had that.
Okay. You'll hate it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in that same...
Yeah, I mean, America does not provide a lot of cuisine to the world, and these are the good ones. We feel like we provide.
Did we make those up, Americans? Potato salad?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like German potato salad, but like...
Okay, but
I'm thinking of like your picnic potato salad.
Yeah, like the mustard base.
The yellow mustard base. Yeah, that's got to be... Maybe I'm wrong.
Is it the texture of it or the flavor of it? Because you like potatoes.
Yeah.
And you like mustard.
It was a while ago. It was when I was a kid, so maybe I need to try it again.
Oh, try it again.
Yeah.
Right,
I like mustard and vinegar and, these salt, pepper, these flavors.
I don't mind a cold, squishy potato.
No. Maybe, yeah, that's the texture for people.
You know, it's great potato salad at Texas Day Brazil at Crocker.
Oh, yeah? You make it to the potato salad?
Yeah. They've got the...
Through all the meat?
buffet there, and it's very, very good. It's mild. It's a mild type of potato salad.
Well, then we're not going to podcast a second time today because we're going to go there.
We're gonna go there. They open at
We're going to get Edwin some potato salad.
I think maybe that's where we start with you, Edwin, is that potato salad. We'll start mild.
There you go.
Need to blast you out of the water with that mustard stuff.
And there'll be delicious meat on the side, obviously. So,
yeah. All you can, because we're carnivoring it up right now.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, yeah, Sunday was Sunday Fun Day, and we've got a few weeks of sermons to recap.
Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah, we did start Sermon on the Mount. Yeah, I won't recap the other ones. We were in chapter 4. Mark talked about the baptism of Jesus in chapter 3. And then we talked about the temptation of Jesus at the beginning of chapter 4. And then Jesus calls his apostles. A bunch of stuff happens in the second half of chapter 4. And he starts gaining prominence. And when we looked at the temptation of Jesus, we talked of the kind of the main point of that was, Jesus used the word as his weapon. And we kind of view the Bible as just like a book of wisdom. We don't view it as a weapon. But the enemy tempted Jesus with, lust of the eyes, pride of life, and lust of the flesh. And he fought back with the word. And the encouragement was for us to use that. We fight temptation with the word of God. We don't do it with our own willpower. We don't try to do it through distraction or avoidance. We need to use the word as a weapon. And then, last week, this past Sunday, we started the Sermon on the Mount, and we read all 48 verses of Matthew chapter 5. And Sermon on the Mount goes chapters 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to basically spend the rest of the year in that for the most part. We'll do a little bit in chapter 8, but that'll go quick. And then a Christmas series. But we'll be in Sermon on the Mount for the next 5 months. That's what I've got it mapped out to. And we took a look at the first 12 verses and talked about the Beatitudes and, that well-known section of Scripture, blessed are the poor in spirit and bless. And we talked about this word blessed and the Greek word makarios, the word that Matthew uses for Jesus's words. And it's a word that means blessed and happy. And when we talk about happiness as Christians, we I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes we have this view of happy, like it's okay to be happy, but like you can't really sink into happy at all. It's temporary. It's surface level. It's not enduring at all. It's circumstantial, and so we don't try to pursue happy. Yeah, but there's two Greek words for happy. There's makarios, and then there's another one, and the other one is like the surface level, where this. When you look at the word that Matthew uses, it's this word. It's this rich word. Fortunate. It can also be translated fortunate. But you look at this and you're blessed. You realize how fortunate you are, and you're happy. Like there's an external excitement, energy to you in your life. And somewhere along the lines, we separated the words blessed and joy and happy. And you can be blessed but not experience joy. You can have joy but not feel blessed. And you can feel joy but not be happy, and feel blessed and not be happy, and be happy but not be blessed. And it's like we've pieced this out and siloed this out, and it didn't make any sense. Like happy is a feeling that God has given us. It's a feeling that we're capable of, an emotion we're capable of feeling and experiencing in its proper context. It's a very good thing. And it's hard to articulate, and I said this on Sunday, kind of the difference between joy and happy, but we kind of know it. We feel that difference. Our version of joy is very rooted in a thankfulness and a gratitude, and it is an internal and an enduring thing. But if you're a person that's filled with joy and you feel blessed, like why aren't you happy? It's not about walking around with this fake smile, and you're gonna have dips. You're going to have days where you feel like you're in a little bit of a funk. I kind of felt like I was in a funk yesterday for no reason. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sunday was a long day for me, and yesterday was first day of summer break, and it was gross outside and rainy outside, and we're just kind of sitting there, and I was still tired from Sunday and didn't sleep good. I'm still feeling sick, and I was just like, kind of blah. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're blessed. Mm-hmm. Like, be happy. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard to dig yourself out of that. Yeah. But for the most part, we shouldn't be grumpy. We shouldn't be sad. We shouldn't go intellectually, I'm blessed, but then not feel any of that happy or that excitement or that energy towards life. Like talk about Ledger, right? In Henry, like at their age, not that they don't have bad days, but man, I like Henry he's just excited about life. Yeah. He's just like, I got another day. Last night we were going to bed and he's like, God, thank you for today, man. I had a great day. Yeah. And like, we didn't do anything yesterday. He's just pumped about this is the day that the Lord has made. And he's starting to at his age now. And as we continue to try to, disciple him and help him connect deeper to Christ, appreciate the, opportunity to live another day. But he's not jaded yet. Yeah. He hasn't been. The kid's been kicked in the teeth, but he doesn't understand why. He doesn't
understand how abnormal that is.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, it's just his life.
Yeah.
The main point on Sunday was like we're blessed and happy, and Jesus has given us this prescription for happiness.
Yeah.
Be poor in spirit, be humble, like mourn your sin, like hate sin, be meek, be gentle. Hunger and thirst for righteousness, be merciful, be a peacemaker. And when you get kicked in the teeth for being a good person on account of Jesus and your faith, think about your reward in heaven. There's no need for us to walk around and not feel that happiness. And so
we overcorrect. Oh, the world, the culture wants us on the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
And then kick out the truth that Jesus gives would you just say the prescription of happiness? That's so good.
The prescription for happiness.
That's so good.
Like in the main point I had up there is the reason that we can say we're blessed and feel joy but not be happy is because we seek blessing from God, but we seek happiness from the world. And I use the example of, I want a blessed marriage. Like, God bless our marriage. We want a happy marriage. We want a nice, good, rich, God-honoring marriage. You know what we need to do? Let's have date nights. Yeah. And I think third service, I was specific. I was like, Chili's is going to fix your marriage. Like, going to Chili's is going to do it. Not that there's anything wrong with having a date night. Like, go date. Have your date night. That's great. But don't think that that's going to give you a blessed marriage.
Yeah.
That's temporary. Yeah. Because what happens when you get home, and I think I said this in second service, when you get home, or first service, one of them, and the kids are still up because the sitter didn't do their job. And the husband or the wife was like, I told you we shouldn't have left. They're not ready for, and then you wind up getting in. Like, how blessed was that experience? Now, it could be great. And again, I'm not saying don't have date nights, don't communicate, don't take your kids on vacation, like don't go golfing. Like,
it's just a vitamin.
Yeah, it's all it is.
You can't live on vitamins.
You can't. It's like it's a B12 shot.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna need one every day.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work. Every service, when I was like, and you can't hear it on the audio because we don't obviously have the congregation mic'd. But every service when I would put up there, like, we seek blessing from God, but we seek happiness from the world, there was an audible, like, first, second, even third.
We should mic up a congregant.
We could, just
like,
one.
Yeah, just one.
Let's mic up Henry and Ledger.
Yeah, they're the mic'd up.
Right.
It's Kenny Wagner.
Oh, yeah. But there was an audible because it was, I think, all of us were in. I remember when I wrote, because I was back in the East Wing and I'd written everything down and been, doing my thing for a month, and I was sitting there and I'm like, there's not enough. Like, I need more. And when that thought popped into my head, I thought, man, that is just so true. It's so, like, it's true for me.
Yeah.
It's like, if I want to break, if I want to chill, if I want to relax, not that there's anything wrong with doing that, but my general, I wouldn't say that my general operating mental procedure or feeling or emotion is happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Like, and I'm like, why don't I feel more happy about things? I have moments of happiness, but for the most part, I'm just kind of like always working in my head or always slightly frustrated with something.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm being honest, like, it's always like, oh, what's got to happen? Yeah. We got something going on right now with this weird billing issue with a thing that we have. We got crazy overcharged for something, and now I'm trying to recoup the funds, and the organization or the business, the company's not, helping us out at all. Why's it always got to happen to us? It's just like, and I'm not saying I can't be bummed about that, but like, my standard,
right?
My temperature is a low grade fever of frustration.
Yes,
for the most part.
Yeah,
I know about you.
No, I was just talking about this with a buddy who's in counseling for this stuff, and
right.
he was having the conversation with them of like, why am I always 0 to 100? Like, even with my family, with
right.
my wife, who seems very happy compared to me.
Right.
And they gave him the perspective that, like, you're always cruising at 40.
Yeah.
You're 40 to 100.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a gut punch. That's so true.
It is. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm cruising at 70.
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's crazy because, like, I know better, and I'm not going to sit here and paint the, like, I'm not an angry guy. I think you guys would see that. Like, I'm pretty low key, but inside, in the depth of who I am, there's always a part of me that there's a tension there. And that's the tension between my spirit and my sin nature. And I can't eliminate that completely, but I can certainly get better. Like, and a lot of it just boils down to contentment and gratitude and thankfulness. And so there is that joy piece, but it can't be like, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
I said to the church, I'm like, if I went around this room and asked all of you, like, hey, when you look at your life and everything the Lord has done for you and provided for you, how many would say you're blessed? Church, you feel blessed? And it was a resounding amen.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm like, but if I asked you, are you happy? And then it was crickets.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's not accusatory. It's not I'm sitting here in my happy ivory tower over here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still trying to figure out what my problem is. Like, and why, and you'll never, like, because it needs to be reasonable. Like, we'll never get to that perfected state. That's not the goal. But, like, I want to live a more God-honoring life. And Jesus says, here's the prescription for deep divine happiness, and happiness that is enduring, happiness that is eternal, and it's tied to your eternity. Be humble, chill out, do all these things, and recognize how blessed you are. It's like, we should try that.
Yeah.
See if it works. So yeah, we started the Sermon on the Mount, and this week we're going to talk about salt, salt and light.
Mm-hmm.
Which we've talked about a lot. yeah, I'm excited to get into this. Sermon on the Mount's just like...
Yeah, what a run in Matthew. The baptism of Jesus, the temptation of Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, the salt and light.
Right.
The parables.
Right. Anger.
It's crazy.
Lust, like divorce.
Yeah.
Like it's like the highlight reel of difficult sermons to preach and hard things for us to maybe accept in certain cases. But yeah, it is. It's just like domino after domino of just heavy hitting stuff.
Yeah.
When I knew we were making the switch to, and so far so good. So far the feedback has been good from making the switch to this, expository type of preaching and a focus on application with it. But I knew, because people were like, oh, being one book for, I'm like, you don't understand. Like, it says it's not going to feel like one book. Like, it's just...
Especially a gospel.
Which is why you start with a gospel.
Yeah. We just talked about just now how much it was in those few chapters.
Just chapter 5.
Yeah, or just chapter 5.
Just 5. Yeah, it's just, it's so rich and it's so heavy. And, and it's good stuff. Like I've talked about in the past, my approach to preaching is very much like what Peter says about him, like his desire is to stir people up by way of reminder. And that's what I hope to do is I'm preaching to people of faith and stirring us up to go out there and to be salt and to be light for the world, to do that tell and to worship and grow and serve. And so it's a lot of rattling the cages and, a
callback to, almost said why not or what now?
Right, yeah.
Now what?
Right. What is it?
Yeah.
My
Whatever
favorite
that
too.
series is.
Right. Yeah.
Call back to now what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just getting back to kind of the basics.
The basics.
Quality, quantity, and frequency were those words.
Yeah.
How much worship, how much grow and serve and tell. What's the quality and the quantity and the frequency of it. And yeah, that's always helpful for me, obedience. I preach a lot about faithfulness and being faithful. And so, yeah, this is a great words. It's a good run for Jesus to just hammer home with it. I got some compliments on the new bumper video, Edwin. It was a great job with that.
Oh yeah,
as well.
That was crispy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I love the music and it fits well with kind of what we're digging into. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we're about to watch a movie.
It does. It's got kind of The Chosen.
The Chosen, yeah.
Yeah, The Chosen kind of feel to it. The music is really good as well. And that is not the Chorazin Plateau, or it is the picture that you have?
It's near the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah.
It's not the exact location.
It's the Mount of the Beatitudes, right? So,
Mount of Beatitudes.
Which is the Chorazin. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, they call it a bunch of different stuff. So, all right. Well, I encourage you to come this Sunday.
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So I think it's time to do a little sound check.
Sound check.
Sound check. Party time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're trying out the jingle.
Right. Yeah. Right. When your life's a wreck.
Yeah, clip that.
Right. When the doctrine's a mess and you need a sound check.
Get your guitar.
Yeah, I can do
Let's
it.
go.
I don't need that. I'm a cappella. This is my pentatonics audition.
Oh.
You know those the pentatonics?
Oh, they were so massive, especially for
Christmas
youth ministry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they like that?
Yeah, the youth. Yeah, loved it. I mean, that was probably like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the a cappella where the people are the instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole. It is impressive.
Yeah, it was really only a phase though.
Yeah, I think they're still around.
They're still around, but
it's not as
doesn't have that heavy hitting.
Yeah.
Following, I feel.
I wonder if it's because we have access to instruments.
Yeah, we're like, we've got the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Well, the thing is, it's like we have drums. I don't need you to make them with your mouth.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to beatbox?
Only all the time.
Only all the time? Okay.
Only all the time do I try.
Yeah.
Am I successful?
Is it any good at all, do you think?
Probably not.
No? Okay.
No.
So sometimes you do stuff and you're like, that was not half bad. Because I'll be honest with you.
Sure.
Sometimes I'll drop something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not horrible.
Yeah.
Not horrible. But then you hear, beatboxing has come a long way.
Yeah, it's crazy what people are doing. Yeah, they're on my algorithm right now. On TikTok and stuff.
I'll show you one maybe when we eat lunch of this guy, and maybe you already heard it.
Yeah, it's probably the same one.
He starts it, and it was like, and he just holds this note forever.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. Dopamine.
Okay.
That's the name of it. Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like somebody's actually doing it.
Edwin, can you pull this up?
Let's see if we can get it by the end of the
Beatbox
episode.
dopamine. I don't know if we can. Are we doing a beatbox reaction video for the podcast today?
That could be, like our closer today.
Yeah, maybe if you can find it. Yeah, we can.
When we're chopping it up at the end.
Yeah.
Like what?
I'll give you a little time to do it. Yeah, dopamine beatbox, and it should
That's his
come
name?
up. No, that's the name of the song.
Song name?
But I mean, I got deep into this because I'm like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do this. And there it is. Yeah,
Yes,
we'll call back to this at the if we have time. But yeah, I mean, boy, that was something.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
I can't.
Anyways, yeah, we're not good beatboxers. So
Yeah, when you see that, you're like, I'm not even gonna even attempt.
yeah, it seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
My voice is tired after 3 services on Sunday. I can't imagine doing what these guys do for that. So we'll let the sound check jingle do its own thing. But yeah, today we're gonna take a look at a video of another guy. I don't even know who this guy is. Did you research who this guy
No.
is? Yeah, I couldn't find any information. I don't dive deep into the comments with stuff like this because I want to react to it. And if I'm reading other people's comments, I'm like, that's a good comment.
Yeah.
And then say that. But let's take a look at this video for our segment sound check. Here we go. I honestly think you and I could beatbox that. We could do those drums.
We'll practice.
All right, let's take a look at this clip of this guy being very specific as to what a good church contains. Let's take a look.
If you see that your church, your pastor, your elders are not doing expositional preaching, if they're not doing that, which means they're not truly preaching the gospel, if they're not doing that, then you need to leave the church. If they don't practice church discipline, then you need to leave the church. If they go down the seeker-sensitive path with Bethel on Hill song and Jesus' life enhancement, he'll make your life better kind of stuff, then you need to leave the church. Let me say this. It sounds cliche, but it's true. You're not going to find a perfect church. There is no such thing as a perfect church. All churches have flaws. We live in a fallen world. But the Bible has standards for what a church is, and that church should be striving to meet those standards, imperfect though it may be. You need to be in a good, doctrinally sound church led by biblically qualified men, because that is the only place that you will truly grow in Christ. You need to be under sound preaching. You need that fellowship. You need that accountability. You need a place where you can use your spiritual gifts. None of those things are going to happen in a false church. None of them are. And you're not going to change it.
We're not called to be in bad churches and change them.
That's right.
We're called to be in biblical churches and serve them.
Find a good church, find a biblical church, serve in that church.
Interesting. He says a lot there.
A lot.
A whole lot. What's your initial thoughts on that?
I feel like it's like a 60% solid stuff, 40% silliness.
I'm kind of there with you.
60%, like being a biblically sound, doctrinally sound church, being a place where you should be using your spiritual gifts to their utmost. Don't go down a path where it seems like Jesus is just enhancement to your life. Don't be there, for sure.
Yeah.
But then, like, you're not preaching the gospel if you're not doing it expositionally.
Right.
Is silly to me. Like, I immediately thought about the 2 best preachers who've ever walked the earth, Jesus and Paul, who would reference, like, Isaiah, the Psalms, without fully going through for months at a time this expositional preaching. I mean, Jesus got up in the temple and read a portion of Isaiah. and was like, "That's me."
Right.
It wasn't.
They're like, kill him.
Yeah. It wasn't like he did this series expositionally through it.
I mean, Sermon on the Mount.
The Sermon on the Mount.
Sermon on the Mount. And
Yeah.
it's a trick with Jesus, right? In a sense, because Jesus did do expositional preaching because he's writing the Bible
Right.
as he preaches.
Yeah.
And so there is that.
Yeah.
Like, and people because I've gotten in discussions, we'll say, with folks before, because it's like, well, topical preaching is, Jesus, spoke in parables, and so preached in parables a lot, and so topical preaching is what is the preferred method because, Jesus did that. And I'm like, also keep in mind though, he was writing the Bible, like he's giving the revelation. So,
For sure.
But yeah, so we looked at guys like, Paul and Peter and anybody else. It was not just, all right, let's pull out your scrolls today. We're going to be reading from Deuteronomy chapter 6.
Yeah.
And here you go. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a really bold statement.
Yeah, that's to say you're not preaching the gospel. It's not my experience. I have found there's churches who have a different method of preaching than straight expositional, and they're still fruitful ministry for sure.
I've done topical, I've done textual exposition, I've done, just straight exposition.
I've done just character studies for months at a time with students, which isn't expositional preaching.
Right,
who's who. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you refer to the text. But yeah, I thought that was
That was a heavy preference statement.
Big time.
For sure.
Yeah. But it also was like, leave the church.
Yeah.
Because they're not preaching the gospel. And it's like, oh man, like, okay.
Yeah.
That's just kind of a preference thing.
Yep. That's what I thought. Those were my initial thoughts.
The other thing that he said that I strongly disagree with is that the only way you're going to grow is if you're in a sound church.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't go to church. Obviously, you should go to church. But the only way you're going to truly grow spiritually is if you go to church. I don't believe that that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul was under house arrest for a bit. Seemed to do some pretty good work there.
Yeah.
Wrote a few letters.
Yeah, that's what's silly, right?
Broad sweeping definitions.
Literal people in the Bible.
Right.
Who are kind of proving your point wrong.
Yeah.
From the very Bible you're saying needs to be preached a certain way.
Yeah, and absolutely, you should be in church. That's one of the things I talked about a couple of weeks ago when we looked at James 4:17 in relationship to the apostles immediately like leaving their boats in their businesses in the mending of the nets with James and John. Immediately when they knew what Jesus wanted them to do, they left and they just followed him. And they had prior interactions with him, but there hadn't been a direct call. The moment he called them, they're gone.
Yeah.
So if you know the good or the right thing to do and you don't do it, it's sin. So like there's definitely a call for us to be in church from the Bible. We know that's the good thing. That's the right thing to do. You should absolutely be in church. But if there are circumstances that you can't come to church or be in community with people, even online, like online is not the same. It's just not. Like you talk about a supplement. It is a
supplement. Yeah.
It is a supplement, but
like if you're disabled, you're in the military, and you find whatever that church is that you have found to be biblically sound, if it's here or wherever, and you're like, that's where I lock in and watch it. We've got recently graduated students who are now like full-time firefighter and what do you call it? Paramedic. And they have crazy hours.
Right.
And they're here on the Sundays they can be, but their testimony is when I'm not there in person, I can watch it online. And that's for me.
Right.
And
even if there's a period where they can't even do that because they're on deployment.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think he's saying that a person can't grow spiritually, if they're not in the church. And maybe that's not what this guy is saying, but again, this is the difficulty of these little clips. But this is what people put out there.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be more clear, then, be more clear.
Yeah.
in what you're saying, but yeah, I don't believe that that's the case. We know the good and the right thing to do is to be in church. Let's not get out of the habit. Hebrews 10:25 of gathering together, as some of you have done. Like, we need to be in church. We need to be in community. We need to be with people, not just online. If we can be with one another in person, I think that that's primary. Mm-hmm. My mother takes care of my 97-year-old grandma with dementia. Mm-hmm. My mom has been here forever. She watches every week religiously. When she's like, man, I miss being there. Yeah, there's just something about it. Sunday Fun Day was a fun day because the whole, not the whole church, but a lot of the church was able to get together and fellowship, and there's something to that. Yeah, should you be in a biblically sound church? Of course, run. We're not called to be in bad churches, but to be in good churches and serve them. That guy at the end who didn't do the majority of the speaking said that. Yeah, I mean, you want to be in doctrinally sound churches, but, like he said, and this is true, there's no perfect church.
Yeah.
So.
That was in that 60% correct
right
for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, none of us are perfect.
Yeah, you've got a
Absolutely.
preference. Like, but to say that a church is not, a church of sound doctrine because it does some topical or textual exposition and not specifically verse by verse expositional preaching.
And I would assume, say, you need to wear a suit when you're preaching.
Based on.
Or maybe even be in the congregation.
Well, yeah. Yeah, possibly.
What that conference aesthetically looked like.
We talk about that a lot. We just had our member class not too long ago. And
people ask that?
People, no, in member class they have over the years. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Why are you in joggers?
Right. I had a person come up to me 2 Sundays ago when I preached on the James 4:17 and Matthew chapter 4 and the apostles getting called, Peter and James and John, and I had I knew it was going to be warm, and I knew that it was a very, and Sunday was too. Like, there are certain sermons where I'm a little bit more chill, and then others I just seem to get riled up a little bit more. And so, a couple of weeks ago, I'm talking to husbands, like, the good and the right thing you need to do for your wife. Don't act like you don't know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're just sitting there like a bump on a log. Like, why aren't you doing it? Wives, you need to respect your husband and submit to him. And husbands, you need to love your wives as Christ loved the church. And I knew that topic was going to, so I wore a baggy black shirt, just like a t-shirt, but like a little bit of a nicer shirt with a pocket. And this person comes up to me right after service and is like, "Is it laundry day?" And I was like, "What?" They're like, "You can wear some no collar?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Whoa." Like, I know it was kind of a joke, but also like not a joke at the same time. And so, yeah, there's preferences.
Yeah. You're just mad I'm pulling this off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so we don't preach preferences as truth. Everybody's got preferences, and when it comes to a church, like it's got to be sound doctrine. Need to preach the Bible first and foremost, and it's easier. Yeah, I think this might be true. You can disagree with that, but I think it's easier to, if a church is preaching more expositionally, to know that a preacher isn't taking verses out of context. If you do topical, a lot of times you could cherry pick. And then,
oh yeah, I'm totally in on what we're doing right now as a church and how we're preaching, but I just can't go the extreme of like, that is what this guy said. Well, you're not even going to be capable of preaching the gospel.
The good news of Jesus Christ can't come in a sermon, a series about grace.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we reacted to with the guy who's like, it's King James only.
Right, amen.
It's only this way.
Yeah.
And it's like God couldn't work through any other way.
Right.
And I just can't get on board with that.
Even though the Bible says that, some preach out of, selfish ambition and vain conceit.
Yeah.
But at least the gospel's getting out there.
Yeah.
It's interesting for sure. So, yeah, I'd say on whole, I'm probably right there with you, 60-40.
Mm-hmm.
60% sound and the other 40% toss over the fence.
Yeah.
Not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, the doctrine stuff, we talk about it all the time. Like, it's very important. That's what's interesting is, and I've said this before from the stage, people come up to me, and maybe they come up to you as well with students, and they're like, we really appreciate that you preach the Bible here. I'm like, wait, what?
That happens in youth, man. Yeah.
Okay, it does.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just recently there was a girl who visited with a girl who was just coming to our winter retreat as a friend of hers, and she typically attends a different youth group. And our girl who goes here went with her to go check it out, just to like maintain that relationship after the winter retreat and stuff. They brought their Bibles. They were ready to rock. They were on fire from winter retreat, and the girl who was driving them was like, "Are you guys bringing your Bibles?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to church, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're not really a Bible youth group." That's what I was told word for word.
That's great. What do they talk about?
And they were like, "Yeah, we're not really like Jesus. You guys will be like Jesus freaks." Is something like along those lines. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's real. That I'm hearing.
That's now. That's happening
right
now. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it happens to me all the time. It happened to me at Sunday Fun Day because I got an opportunity to talk to people, and people are very kind to me. They're very encouraging, and I joke about somebody saying something about my outfit, but 99% of our church body is just so encouraging, and just Rachel got home, she's like, "Man, we got a lot of nice people at the church," and this is just a good crew. We've got a great church family, but yeah, we were just like, we so appreciate that you just are preaching. I was talking to this one lady, she's close to 80, and she's like, I've been a Christian for 70 years. And she's like, I've been in so many churches, and she's like, I feel like this is the first one where I'm actually like learning the Bible. And she's like, I've been a Christian for 70 years. And that's not a commentary on the depth of my preaching or your preaching or Mark's preaching. It's a commentary on the state of the church.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll get other things. I had, somebody sent an email. They're like, you need to go deeper. You can go deeper. I know you can do it. And I'm like, 30 minutes.
Right. There's the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you want to go deeper? Join a small group. That's why Mark and I get together every week and talk about the sermon, and he builds study questions so you can go deeper. I'm capable of going deeper, but application is huge.
Yeah. I started making half sheet like study guides to send students home with.
Yep.
I'm still currently like, you guys need to take this home and like make it the culture that we're used to. Because I'm like, man, we'll be the only youth group that's like sending homework and be like, you're going to do this as a family for like a 5 to 10 minute devotional. Go deeper with what we talked about tonight sometime during this week.
So what we talked about on Sunday, like you want to have a blessed marriage, you want to have a blessed family. Like it's not about going on vacations and date nights. It's like open up the Word and dig into the Word. I view Sunday mornings very much like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You go in, you get your sweat on, you get your workout, and then when you get home, like that's when composition, spiritual composition really starts to change.
Right.
Because when you go to the gym and you work out, and you run and you bench press and you curl or you do it, whatever it is you do, what your body does with that is determined once you leave that gym. What do you feed yourself? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating enough protein? Do you have enough carbs or too little carbs? You got enough healthy fats? Like your body can't recover from the workout unless you take care of the nutrition. And your spirit isn't going to recover from a sermon unless you feed it the right nutrition throughout the week.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't say that not going to the gym is an option. You got to go to the gym if you want to be healthy, your heart to be healthy, your bones, your muscles. You got to work. You got to go to church. But that's just the workout. The real growth takes place. And so we don't need to go 20,000 leagues under the sea. I don't even know if that's the right reference. I know it's a book. We don't need to go 5 miles under the sea and go as deep as we can on Sunday. That's part of your diet throughout the week.
Well, that's the right reference.
Yeah. Okay. So, like,
you're good.
Great. So we talked about, the Sermon on the Mount, and we talked about the Beatitudes, and we went through all of them, and we talked about the Chorazin Plateau, and we talked about the temptation of Jesus and Satan and why that was there. Why did that happen? Why would that even be in there? That's a silly thing. Nobody thought Satan was going to win. Well, it's in there for, like, we talked about those things. We apply those things. If you want to go deeper in the text, do it Monday through Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was training people, I didn't train them and then give them a diet plan and then follow them home and cook their meals and weigh their food and track. No, I gave them the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Go do it. That's it. If you want deeper, whatever that even means. I have people all the time, that want something.
It means more Greek words unpacked,
I suppose. And that is helpful. And I use it when it's necessary. I did it on Sunday.
Yeah.
We talked about the origin of the Beatitudes.
More Makarios.
More Makarios.
Yeah.
And it's like, but there's too much study can wear out the body. There's a limit to it. Like, if what I gave you on Sunday through God's word, like, just try to do that.
Yeah.
And then tell me if you need more.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what was the Greek for immediately?
Theos.
Yeah, and then it was like, and this means immediately. Basically like
immediately, right away, instantly,
right.
At that moment, now. Yeah. And all those words just mean immediately.
Yeah. So it was like very helpful, but at the end of the day, like, we're back to, just so you know, this does mean in English.
Exactly.
Get to it.
Get to it. Like, do something with zero hesitation.
Yeah.
And with a sermon like that, you study that in there because you want to make sure that the translators handled the text, that
Right.
the word immediately is actually in the original.
Yeah.
That it's not just emphatic emphasis that
Yep.
a scribe or a translator put in there.
Yeah.
To help curate the event.
Yeah.
So
there's just certain people like me. I find that interesting.
Same.
We're nerds. We're Bible nerds. So
yeah.
Again, it all comes back to that same idea. Like, that's your preference of studying the Bible,
right?
Which you have all the resources on your own to go and do as well. If you're a nerd, if you want to nerd out.
Yeah. I don't have some secret sauce. It's not like when you become a pastor, they give you, you get a access to, the divine internet. And it's like, here's your, access. It's code 777. Just log in, and then you can get all the secret spiritual stuff. Like, it's just smart, hard work. Like, and I mean smart, not like I'm smart, but you try to work smart that because you got a lot of things that you have to cover. And so you get some good tools like Logo software and a Greek and a Hebrew dictionary, which is in there. And you read and you study, and then you pray and you wait. You wait and see what the Lord will bring to mind. And I have the luxury to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not lost on me but I just have the time. So if I spend more time on something, then if I spend more time practicing guitar, likely I'm gonna be a different type of guitar player than somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I think people think that, sometimes that as pastors we have this insight and knowledge, and I think the Lord does give you a level of discernment that's helpful for the role that you're in. And
100%.
And that's going to be maybe more different than somebody else that wouldn't necessarily need that. And so it's not to say, that I might not have a different insight on something. But again, if I do have that insight on something, and I've done my best and worked my hardest and think this is what would honor the Lord in a sermon, like, just try doing that. And then if you need more, like, just try to be happy, right? Try to do the good and the right thing that you ought to do. Fight temptation with the word of God as a weapon. They don't just put the phone down and pick up the Bible. Like, we've got enough to do. It's like when people reach out to me and they're like, we've got a great ministry opportunity for you here, and we think your church would benefit from it. I'm like, I'll listen to you, but we got no shortage of ministry here. We're doing ministry, and we can barely get it covered as it is. Like, we're 50% shy of VBS volunteers, and, you want me to give your organization our volunteer. We can't get covered what we need here. So, and I understand people's desire for depth, but what they'll find, because, I suppose, being Bible nerds, so to speak, and wanting to dive deep into that and digging into it, what you'll find is the deeper you get, the more important the application is.
Yeah.
That's what you'll find. You're going to get more information pointing to 2 words. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Which is the gathering. It always has been.
Right. Yeah.
On a Sunday morning for us, or I don't know if it was Saturday for most of the early church, but whatever the gathering time was, it was being reminded of do it. Do it.
It's Palpatine ministry.
It's Palpatine ministry.
Do it.
Palpatine preaching.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. But it was on me if I wanted to nerd out and go learn more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But like the depth of information that you get is wildly useless unless you do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's great that we want to know more. But knowing more for the purpose of knowing more is different than knowing more for the purpose of doing more.
Yeah.
And living our lives more like Christ.
Yeah.
It's not, I think sometimes we want to be able to maybe sit in a room in our small group and feel like we've got some theology chops, maybe. And again, some people, it's just interesting for them, like it would be for me. And it's a good thing. Like, it is a good thing to want that knowledge, but man, we can't be so focused on the accumulation of knowledge that we forget about the application of it. Like, we want to accumulate for the purpose of application.
Yes.
That's it. So, yeah, sound check. Edwin, you got any thoughts on anything in the world? You like what we're doing with expository preaching? What did you come from before you came over to the Light of Hope?
The Light of Hope. Sounds like a Star Wars movie.
No, that's a 90s Christian album.
Oh, yeah.
The Light of Hope.
Yep, that's exactly.
Is here today.
No, I started. Yeah, just.
I'm gonna keep going. Cut me off.
He's trying. He's doing his best.
We did the style of preaching at my old church that we're doing now.
Yeah.
Where it was every week
verse by verse.
The organization over top of the church chose a verse or set of verses every week. So
that came down from.
They were following like a liturgical calendar.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
Of like what season we're in. If it's
right.
If it's what do they call it? Easter tide is like right after Easter, and then the majority of the year is ordinary time. Yeah. So they were following that stuff.
Yeah. So we did that. Coming here though, I liked the style we were doing.
Yeah.
But I like this style again.
Yeah. It's kind of a hybrid between the two.
It is a hybrid.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when I was telling the church, like, we're going to switch to expository preaching, people were like, "Oh, I don't know about that." I'm like, I'm telling you, it's going to feel the same. Because expository preaching, and I said this to the church, and it can get boring sometimes. Like, if it is just all the information and no application, and it's like, we're going to go through the text, we're going to explain it, and then this is what we do with it. And we're not going to, jam a square peg in a round hole. We're not going to sit here and twist things to pull things out. It's like, there's application in nearly everything.
Yeah.
In absolutely everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you look on the section on divorce. It's like, we're going to do a whole sermon on divorce. Well, not everybody's divorced. Not everybody's thinking about divorce. So is there application there beyond divorce? You betcha. Like, absolutely. So most things can kind of funnel down into it. And at the end of the day, I was doing mostly textual exposition, just taking chunks of scripture, and Who's Who was just topical. But everything in we've had some topicals, but the very first sermon series I did, Produce, was one verse. Let's unpack it. So yeah, I've been enjoying the process as well, and all these things are good kicks in the pants for me. What are you guys doing now in students?
It's been a hybrid. We did the parables all last year.
Yeah, that's right.
And then this year we've covered. It's like semi-expositional. We've gone through Job, Esther, Daniel, and now Nehemiah.
Okay.
That's what we're in right now. But like I said, we send study guides home, and it's like, here's the entirety of what you could read as a family. That I didn't cover all of it. I read the majority of it with them, but now you can read it together as a whole Bible study.
That's awesome.
You go through all of it expositionally this week. So that's kind of how it's played out. It's kind of half character study, half expositional.
Yeah.
But what I don't completely cover, I fill in the gaps with the study guide.
Yeah.
That they could go do. Yeah.
That's good.
I want to emphasize that. I want to emphasize what we're basically talking about, training these families to go and do this practice when they're not here.
Go do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll talk about, this Jesus gets done with the Beatitudes. You're blessed and happy.
Yeah.
And the next thing he says is, now go.
Yeah.
Be salt and light.
We need both. We need the pastoral setup and the church and the gathering and studying as a family or as a small group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. All right. Well, let's move on to our question for today. Edwin, our screen is dead.
Oh.
Black and dead.
It sure is. Why is
We haven't filmed anything.
It's been a nice talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did the beatboxing guy crash our system?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Did.
Yeah.
If anything's going to do it, it's him.
I would think so. Well, the beats are so sick. The virus came. There we are.
Okay, there we go. Your screen wasn't dead. My screen was dead.
Oh, okay.
All right, there you go.
There it is.
All right, here we go. Here is a question. Hello. Hi. Thanks in advance for your time to answer questions and provide additional scripture on topics both from the sermon and other questions that arise. I'm curious what the Bible says about babies or young children who die before they are even able to understand salvation, as well as babies who have been miscarried or aborted. I appreciate the information you could provide from the Bible on this topic. This is a question that we get all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And we've addressed it on the podcast in the past, but I think it's worth going over it again. And it's not a particularly long answer because what the Bible says about babies and young children who die before they're even, the truth is that the Bible doesn't say much.
Yeah, there's only hints.
All. There's hints. It doesn't say anything specifically.
Yeah, we can't have like a full dogmatic response.
No.
Like many other topics.
Yeah. And this topic comes up a lot because it's such it's kids. It's heavy. We're living in a time where people are, murdering kids through abortion. That's what's happening. And so, some 50, 60 million a year from estimates, which is probably light, but those are the numbers that I've seen. And you got to wonder what God does with that. When you talk about the doctrine of election, that comes in it as well, because people will say, well, God knows who would have come, who he would have given faith to and who he wouldn't have given faith to, and all of that. So there's a lot to it. Also for miscarriages, we know lots of people that have had miscarriages. Rachel had 2 miscarriages. So, we wondered that as well. And if something happens to a child, tragically children get sick. And addressed this in a sermon. I've addressed this on the podcast. But yeah, the Bible doesn't say anything specifically. This is often referred to as the age of accountability. Like, at what point is a child
alert
and accountable, capable of hearing the gospel and then rejecting the gospel? And even that language I don't care for, because you know me.
I rejected it till I was like 19.
Yeah, and that's the language we use, is that, a child can reject it, we receive it, and we've gotten into all this before. But, as a guy that does subscribe to the doctrine of election, it's like the person rejects it, but God hasn't given it to them. And so
there's a mystery in there.
There's a mystery in there. There's a big old mystery in there on how timing. Yep. How does all of it work? Like, it's like, when does a person receive faith? Like, elect or not elect, it doesn't matter. Like, when does that happen?
Or this, like, very recent experience, like, how old's Henry? 8?
8.
So he's starting to be aware and alert of this.
Oh, yeah.
My new 4-year-old was like, I want to be a monster truck.
Yeah.
All day yesterday and this morning.
Right.
I'm like, he's not going to be aware yet. he thinks it's possible to be a monster truck.
He does. Yeah. He can't do that. And so there's not an age. There's a and I'll go on record saying there's not an age, and there's not, again, as a person that looks at Romans chapter 9, and it reads that it does not depend on human will or exertion, but on God who gives mercy.
Yeah.
That means it does not depend on human will or exertion. It's not about these kids even being able to understand. It's about what has God designed these kids for.
Yeah.
And so, because the Bible doesn't address this directly, there's only one place that I can go to in Scripture that hints at something, and it is 2 Samuel chapter 12, starting in verse 15. You remember, David sees Bathsheba, and he's on the roof, and he likes what he sees, and so he calls her, and they spend time together. They're intimate. She becomes pregnant. He wants the husband to think that it's his baby, so he calls Uriah back from the front lines, or the fighting, I should say. And Uriah is like, I'm not going to sit here and enjoy my wife while my people are suffering and my friends are fighting. And so he doesn't he's not intimate with his wife at all. They don't have an intimate moment. She's still pregnant. David sends him back. A lot of us are familiar with that story. So Nathan comes and he rebukes David, and so we'll pick up in verse 15. Then Nathan went to his house, and the Lord afflicted the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and he became sick. David therefore sought God on behalf of the child. David fasted. He went in, and he lay all night on the ground. And the elders of his house stood beside him to raise him from the ground, but he wouldn't, nor did he eat food with them. On the 7th day, the child died. And the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke to him, and he did not listen to us. How can we say to him, the child is dead? He may do himself some harm. But when David saw that his servants were whispering together, David understood that the child was dead. And David said to his servants, Is the child dead? They said, He's dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his clothes and went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. He went to his own house, and when he asked, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servant said to him, What is this thing that you have done? You fasted and wept for the child while he was alive, but when the child died, you arose and ate food. He said, While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who knows whether the Lord will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he will not return to me. So, I shall go to him, meaning that the child is still living in some type of eternal state, and we can assume that David is in heaven with God. He's God's chosen. man after God's own heart. So if you put 2 and 2 together, it would seem that the child went to heaven and that David will see the child in heaven. Now, that is a narrative. That is one specific instance where we see this. Does that mean that it's normative? And this is where we got to kind of throw our hands up in the air and go, well, the Bible doesn't say specifically, right? Jesus is the only way, right? You can't come to the Father except through Jesus. How can a 2-year-old, how can a 4-year-old like Ledger, how can some 7, 8, 9-year-olds, depending on where they're at cognitively,
or special needs,
like how can they, receive the faith, understand the gospel message, and God implant faith in their heart to help them understand it? And would God penalize a child for their inability to, we'll say, receive faith and understand it? My answer to that is, when I look at the nature of God, when I look at how, in my finite view, can't even understand the depths of his love and his grace and his mercy and his forgiveness, it seems outside of the nature of God to send an individual to eternal damnation if they are incapable of understanding the gospel message.
Right.
It would seem outside of God's nature to do that.
Even Jesus, God in the flesh, it could be a very eternal statement when he says, let the little children come to me.
Yeah. Right.
That's the one. That's who we look at as modeling what God's character is like in person.
Yeah.
When he walked this earth. And that's the kind of character he
Don't you
embodied.
know their angels are constantly in front of my Father? There's multiple references and hints to this. Now, some would say, well, then, okay, hotshot, then what about election? Mm-hmm. My answer would be that all people that are incapable of understanding the gospel message based on age, cognitive ability, differently abled, neurodivergent, they're elect.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
God's still choosing.
He's choosing.
Absolutely choosing. There's nowhere in Scripture where they're going to, like Paul, trying to persuade little children. He's going and persuading,
right,
walking, thinking adult human beings who have a different understanding of deities, or they don't care to worship anything, or they're worshiping a variety of gods, and they're trying to figure out who's the one true living God. He's not going and doing it to little kids. He's doing that to the adults who can think that way. In order to hopefully discover who the elect is amongst that preaching.
To me, it would make perfect sense that God would, by way of his grace and his mercy and his omniscient nature, not, we'll say, penalize, not condemn a person that's incapable of understanding. When I see Jesus walking around healing, like who's he healing? The lame, the blind, the deaf, the crippled,
the kids.
You think about, and that's
a good point. They're included in that quite a bit. Can you please save my daughter?
Jairus's daughter, back to life. But Jesus is doing all this work for the underdog, so to speak. And that's God in the flesh. And so it would seem like if a person is incapable due to being differently abled or a child not having the ability, like that's the underdog. Like a 3-year-old, Ledger's the underdog right now when it comes to theology. Like he doesn't have the capability to understand. And so, I believe the blood of Christ and the righteousness of Christ is imputed to those that are not able.
Yeah.
And let me say all this. This is my opinion. Okay? It's my opinion. If you believe something completely different, that's okay. I don't have any verses to stand on. This is my opinion based on what I believe fits most cleanly and tightly within the framework of God's nature that has been revealed to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm not saying this is gospel truth. Again, like you said, we only get these hints to it at all. And so if you're listening to this and you strongly disagree, there's no problem at all. You're absolutely entitled to that view, and I'm not here to convince anybody otherwise with something like that. The real answer is we don't know. Mm-hmm. But with something this heavy, yeah. I mean, I remember when Rachel had her first miscarriage, like I dug into this a little bit more, and I'm like, what, am I going to see this kid like in heaven?
Yeah, and what part of reading that text were you resonating with? Was there a part, I should say, when you have that real life experience, you read that text and you go, David came to terms with his control.
Yeah.
His ability of control. I can't bring this child back, so I'm just going to go worship the Lord. Like that part really strikes me as like...
That hit me heavy.
Yeah, that hits you heavy, I imagine.
We even know Henry at 10 months got diagnosed with
cancer,
rare form of cancer, a cancerous tumor, middle in his chest, over his heart, into his sternum, and had to have several surgeries, a couple surgeries to, go in, take it out, do the biopsy, and then go in for a Mohs procedure. He's got a giant scar on his chest, and I'm looking at this 1-year-old. And by the time the surgery happened, he was maybe 1.5-ish, something like that. Having to go, what if this is it? Mm-hmm. Like what, like this is, and so like I'm gonna get choked up here talking about this, but like I would go to that text and I'd go, if it happens, I got to clean myself up and go worship.
Yeah.
Like that hit me so powerfully because the thought that everybody would have is the same thought that David's servants would have. Like, this guy's going to kill himself.
Disappointment.
He's going to kill, like he's going to hurt himself. Like he's going to throw himself off. And that, when you think about the loss of a child, like, yeah, like I can't even fathom it. Mm-hmm. But I know God would give grace, but it's like, he's just like, well, all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And he could get up and go back to business. I think because he had the assured nature that I'll see him again. Mm-hmm. This isn't goodbye. This is just, we'll see you in a while.
Yeah.
And if the Lord took Henry, I'm 46 now. Statistically, I got 31 more. I can make it 31 years to see that boy again. And what a beautiful, union that would be. But yeah, I fully believe that Henry's like always, getting on us for not having more kids. Because he's like, you guys are boring. Like we kind of are. I'm sorry, dude. Like that's why I bought you all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, he's 8 and he likes to do different things. And, dad doesn't have the same energy level, or mom doesn't. And, we don't want to play tornado for 3 hours in a row. And, but we told him, like, he's like, Mom, we tried to have a couple of kids before you, and and then you came out, and I go, you've had a lot of stuff. And so, it seemed to us, we felt at peace with just kind of having Henry because of the level of care that he needed. And
yeah,
he's like, am I going to meet my brother and sister? What do you think they are, boys or girls? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you think I'll see him when I get to heaven? I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Why not? Nothing in scripture that says that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing that says specifically it's going to happen either, but I think it's okay to have that hope and that desire.
Absolutely.
I think that's I think with David,
it's another opinion, but
it is definitely an opinion.
I would say that they're there.
Yeah.
And that is a true hope to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's backwards to what we would expect we were supposed to respond with. If you lose that child,
curse God and die.
Right. It's curse God and die, run away from him. He's not even real.
Yeah.
Get angry at him. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's the only ounce of Makarios you could have is actually returning to worship him.
That's it.
In that kind of moment.
That's it. Yeah.
And that he knows better and that he's the God of comfort, even in something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a heavy topic. Mm-hmm. It's one that, by God's grace, we haven't lost a child that has come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've dealt with that, and Rachel would be okay. And I shared this in a sermon years ago, and not divulging anything personal. I mean, it's personal, but I'm not breaking any confidence here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that we processed through. I processed through, and I'm sure Rachel processed through. And we talked about together, and yeah, it's like, well, of course you hope that because you guys had maybe a miscarriage or people that have lost kids, and yeah, absolutely, I want that to be true. I'm not going to pretend like I don't want that to be true.
Yeah, you're allowed that.
I'm allowed to want that to be true, and I'm allowed to read 2 Samuel 12 and go, well, David says he's going to see his kid again. Maybe I'll see mine again. Mm-hmm. It makes it clear. The good news is that there's nothing on the opposite side that seals it. I'm not ignoring any other scripture where God's like, well, if the baby goes, they're going straight to HE double hockey sticks here. So, like, I'm not ignoring that. I'm not taking anything out of context, and so that my wishful thinking and hopeful thinking comes in. But I just see we talked about walking around and like, understanding blessed and feeling joy, but not being happy. And part of it is that I don't think. No, I'll go even more definitive. I know we don't understand the depth of God's love for us. Mm-hmm. We don't get it. We can't even comprehend it. I know my son doesn't understand the depth of love I have for him. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Like he will never understand unless God gives him his own kid. You can't know what it is to love a kid if you haven't had a kid. And that's not to say that a person can't understand love unless they have a kid, because kids is not God's plan for everybody. So, but you couldn't understand that type of love. It's not a greater love. It's not a deeper love. It's a different love. Mm-hmm. It's just a different love. So I think you can still experience all 7, 13, 16 Greek words for love, whatever it is now, whatever the count's up to, without having children, because that's, again, not God's design for everybody, but it is different. Henry doesn't understand how different the love is. We don't understand how different God's love is for us. Whatever he's got, we pale in comparison to feel that. And so if we understood that a little bit more, or if we even contemplated that a little bit more, that would also probably help with the happiness. But yeah, I don't think we understand just how deep the Father's love for us is. It's a song, I know that. And I think that fits within this genre perfectly.
Yeah.
Like God's love and his compassion. I mean, I say this all the time and I still can't get over it. Like Jesus hanging on the cross and he's like, yeah, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Like, I love that. That's the closest Jesus gets to calling people idiots, right?
Yeah.
Like, Father, forgive them. They're a bunch of idiots. They don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's like, let's put Ledger and Henry in the kitchen and tell them to cook a lasagna.
Yeah.
And then just watch them and go, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly it.
Yeah. So. But yeah, this is a question we get all the time, and we wanted to address it again because it's top of mind for somebody, and so hopefully that answer satisfies a little bit. Again, just to summarize, we don't know. We get some hints.
Yeah,
this is what I hope, and I think it's what you hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it makes the most sense.
It does seem to make the most sense. It seems to fall most in line with what the nature of our God is. So. But a very, very good question. You've got, you got another little one on the way here.
Yeah. We sure do. I've got another little boy.
Boy dose. How's name gate coming?
Boy family. Getting there.
Are you okay?
Short list. It's pretty complete.
What are we down to? 2, 3?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, good.
You know, I've got my favorites.
Yeah.
So we just gotta
agree.
Do an agreement. Yeah.
How hard will you dig in to your preference, or is it not that?
I don't think it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I think there's a few like really solid ones, and we just have to work together. It's not like I'm pushing one.
Yeah,
harder,
that's good.
And she's like, I don't really like that one.
Yeah.
And it ended up working out when we had Ledger. We loved that name.
Yeah.
So
what was
the moment will come.
How did you guys come up with Ledger? I mean, obviously the first thing that I thought of was Heath
Ledger.
Yeah, but
no,
was that a family name or anything? Or?
Not a family name. Nope. It was our COVID game. Ledger's a COVID baby.
Yeah.
So Liz would put out memory cards, index cards all over the floor in our living room with names that she really liked. And if I liked one, we could add it into the mix. And then literally it was just one day. We were a couple months out from the birth, and we both loved Ledger, and it just sat with us.
Does he have a middle name?
Yeah, his middle name is Jorah.
Jorah. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Jorah.
Okay. What's the meaning behind Ledger?
The main meaning is it's what the Israelites would cry out during the first rain upon their crops.
Oh.
So when blessing was coming
there you go.
upon their crops, they would cry out. It would have been more like Yorah, but we say Jorah.
Jorah, yeah.
Yeah, so there was that meaning we liked as like our first child, first blessing.
That's sweet.
And then it can also mean he teaches.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's teaching me where rocks go on Sunday.
So yeah, he's living up to it, right?
Yeah. And what's ledger mean?
Ledger just means like the written word.
Written. Okay. Yeah,
You know,
like a ledger.
like an account. Yeah, like an accounting.
Yeah.
We liked quite a few names that were like words that could be names, and Ledger was the one we liked the most.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's very difficult to name a human being.
Yeah. Early on, I really liked as a brother's name for Ledger, Bridger, but that one got tossed out.
Bridger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Have you met somebody named Bridger?
No, but just all over our TikTok algorithm is like, look at these cool baby names.
Okay.
That you'll like.
Yeah.
And so I'll see the list and I'm like, Bridger was cool. It sounds cool.
Ledger and Bridger.
Yeah. But she wasn't into that one, and I wasn't married to it, so I was married to her.
Have you guys settled on middle name? That's right. Have you settled middle name for baby 2?
No, we're getting there though.
Yeah. It's tough because you got to get the rhythm right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ledger Jorah is great.
Yep.
You say 2 syllables, right?
Yes.
Or you match syllables.
Yeah.
Is good for the rhythm.
Yeah, that's what
You're 222 because Painter is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Ledger Jorah Painter. That's a great yelling name.
They're late. Yeah. Which happens now that he's 4.
Henry said the other day, he's like, I don't like when you use my middle name.
Yeah.
He's like, because I know you're upset.
I don't really care.
Yeah. Like, what'd you say to me, Henry Russell Nemeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really care what you like.
So, switching gears, Edwin, Henry has requested that at some point during the summer, he come in and play drums, and maybe Mr. Edwin would switch the lights, the LED lights, a little bit while he plays the drums on the kit. And I was like, well, Mr. Edwin can turn stuff on for us. I go, he's on the clock not to run lights for your for your show. He's like, he won't even switch them for 5 minutes. I go, don't get mad at Edwin. I was like, this isn't Edwin's call. So at some point, would you mind turning the lights on and then showing me how I can't break stuff? Ever since Easter, the kid's been absolutely just hooked. His goal is to get up and play for the worship team.
Yeah.
He asked me this morning, he goes, who's the band this week? And I said, well, let me pull it up. I said, we got Mr. David. I go, he's singing and leading. And he goes, ooh, that's good. and I said, why?
Nice pull.
He's like, I go, why is that good? He's like, it's a high probability we're doing Lion and the Lamb. He goes, Mr. David loves Lion and the Lamb.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is true. I'm like, we're not, though. I go, we're doing Raise a Hallelujah. He's like, oh, that's good. That one's good, too. Holy Forever, and then, the Blessing. But, yeah, he's just hooked. And so Sunday, fun day, couldn't find Rachel and Henry, and text Rachel. I'm like, where you at? And she's like, in the worship center. It got hot. And my wife is not a particularly extroverted individual. And so you can imagine, 500 people seeing her that don't get to see her very often. And she just needed a little bit of a break from the interactions, because she's just a little shy to start. And it was hot. And so I walked into the worship center, and Henry's just pounding on the drums, and the lights are on. And I noticed that the board was on, so I went upstairs and I unmuted him for a second.
Nice.
And he was like, "Can you do stuff with the lights?" I'm like, he's like, "Make them red." I'm like, I'm already out. I was like, I can take this mouse and click this song and hit the play button. I'm assuming it's not going to ruin anything. And we didn't ruin anything. But
there's not a button here that says red. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I am so out of the tech world now. Like I looked at the board and I could unmute it, and I understand the basic mechanics of it. But yeah, it would be like me getting in a spaceship trying to fly it. Like it just. And I'm at that age where I'm done learning new things. Yeah. As far as technology goes, like I don't think I'm going to go beyond what I know now. Like I'm not, like whatever's next, like even AI, like I've never used Chat GTP. Is it GTP? GPT?
So perfect.
What is it?
GPT. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm literally just digging my heels in, and I'm like, I like what I like, and I'm going to just ride this out. I'm doing this with clothing. Like I've just decided.
There's fun stuff you could do with Henry on that.
So he'll get it.
Yeah, if you type in like, here, I want you to make this kind of image.
Rachel's doing it for him.
It's so, yeah.
Yeah, but Rachel's 8 years younger than I am. So she's got 8 years before she decides to not learn anything.
Yeah, but I get the feeling you would be interested in, I don't know, your humor would play.
It may.
Especially with Henry. I mean, you're already doing animals. You just be like, we're making this story.
Ooh, we got a massive squishmallow at Costco yesterday.
Yeah.
This thing weighs like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely huge.
You could literally be like, make a comic book cover of Mr. Squishmallow, and he
could do it?
Angry and blue, and you just tell it what to do, and it'll shoot it out. Or like take a picture of it and add the picture into ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's what Rachel's done with a few things.
Yeah.
Henry comes up with these drawings from school.
Yeah.
And she brings them to life.
Yes.
And it's hilarious.
Something parents are doing that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's super, super cool. And very, very funny stuff. But anyways, Edwin, I might need you to turn stuff on.
Anyways.
And show me a couple things when that happens.
That's so funny. We had some youth the other day, like right when I was trying to start preaching. It was high schoolers. They were like, who owns this church? Is it Neal's church?
No.
I'm like, no, it's not his church. They're like, Chad owns it. I'm like, I don't own this church.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does it fall under like somebody owning it? And I'm like, well, it's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, the nonprofit owns it.
Yeah.
And on paper, I function as the CEO.
Right.
And
it's a 501c3.
501c3.
Get into all that, but also I'm trying to start Nehemiah, so.
Yeah. Now, if the church fails, it just, the assets get sold and distributed to pay off debt, and nobody owns it.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We don't need to explain it. I just thought it was funny that.
Edwin, can you get my attorney on the phone?
Yeah.
It'd be helpful.
Next time.
Henry's asked me the same thing. He's like, do you own the church? I was like, no.
Right.
I go, I don't own it.
Right.
He's like, well, are you in charge? And I said,
I can't even make the lights red.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I said, I'm in charge. And he's like, well, who's your boss? I go, well, Jesus is my boss, but he's also your boss too. I go, I said, I was like,
this is getting wildly confusing.
Yeah, like we have elders. I go, but yeah, I go, no, Dad makes the decisions. The elders as a whole, we make the decisions for the church as a whole. But at the end of the day, that's not really how it works. Like Brett and Dave's main job is to make sure that I'm not preaching heresy and make sure that, I'm taken care of, and then, doing my job. But the elders just can't fire me. Like, it's got to go to it'd have to be a majority vote, only if I do something immoral. They can't be like, oh, we don't like sermon series, so we're going to get rid of you. Like, I got to get caught with my hand in the offering bucket or something on my computer. And that's kind of the way it should be, because you know how these things can get in churches. It can get real political. And, if I'm doing something immoral or amoral, then get rid of me or put me on the back burner and restore me and all that. But if personalities can get real tricky, even in the church, they shouldn't be able to just get rid of me. So, but at that point I would be off the elder board, and Bob and Brett and Dave would have to unanimously decide and prove that I have stolen, which is why I don't even give myself the ability to do these things. Like, I have access to nothing, like literally nothing.
We'll clip this and play it for the high schoolers next time they ask.
Yeah, hey kids. Hey kids.
So here's how it works.
Here's how a church works. Hi, I'm Pastor Neal, and welcome to this instructional video on Hope Christian Church.
It'll be that Captain America cameo.
That's exactly what it is. Right.
They play it in the schools.
Your body's changing. Right. Yeah. I think that was
Matt,
it.
could you dress up?
Yeah.
For this?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll put on my laundry day clothes.
Oh yeah.
We could do that. Yeah, people I think sometimes get confused about how it works and church structure and the elder board moves forward with consensus. Like, if we make a major move, like Brett and Dave are our lay elders, Bob and I are the vocational elders, and when it comes to the running of the church, all the administrative, the budget, all that kind of stuff, staffing, human resources, insurance, copier contracts, literally almost everything, falls under me, and Bob handles a lot of that, so that by the time it gets to me, it's pretty well flushed out. We take that final budget, we present it to the other elders, and then they kind of sign off on it, make sure that nothing shady's going on. It's like, oh, Neal's salary went up, $3 million. That's weird. And I'm using massive numbers, so that
very high personal pizza budget.
Right. That's exactly it. Right. When it comes to missionaries we support, like Brett and Dave are involved in that, but direction of the church, like setting a vision and mission initially years ago, Brett and Dave are involved in that. But how that vision and mission are executed, it all falls under me. They're not here all the time. They can't be here all the time. And that's not their job. Their job, again, is to make sure that I'm not preaching heresy and that I'm doing okay. My marriage is doing good. And then my job is to, update them on here's how Chad's doing, here's how Edwin's doing. And, when we went to add on to the Build and Grow project, that's a big financial undertaking. So that's something that the elders would do as a whole. But yeah, nobody owns the church. And if your church is a New Testament church and it's got elders and it's got, vocational pastors that are, and honestly, I mean, what we're doing isn't prohibited in Scripture, but it was either everybody was working two jobs in the New Testament, or they were, vocational elders. And so we feel like this is okay, based on God's word, to have, two guys that don't work here, that aren't titled pastor, advising and overseeing. And that's what they do, is they oversee. But we're autonomous, so we don't have any, hierarchy that we have to answer to. It's not like, like the Lutheran Church, Edwin, where, they're coming down and saying, here's the calendar for the year and here's what we need you to do. So yeah, the church is, 90%, run, decisions, direction, all that comes from me. And those guys are there to make sure that I'm not throwing things off the rail. Well, I shouldn't even say 90%. Like, they're, 100% of the direction and how we carry out that vision comes from me. And then they're just making sure that I'm not going off the rails and making sure I'm not sad inside and preaching heresy, trying to take care of us. But they're great guys. And, it's a great system because it's not a dictatorship. You don't have one person, even though I'm making the decisions and giving the direction. Like, they have the ability to go, no, that doesn't make sense. Like if I came to them and I said, listen, we're switching from the ESV to the Quran, they could be like, nah, we're not doing that.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's a little bit how it works if you shop talk a little bit. But I do get that question quite a bit from people because I don't think they really understand church structure and New Testament church structure and how it works.
Yeah,
you had elders in place. Where you had Peter, James, and John. They were the pillars of the church. Like these were the decision-making guys. And even within that, you see Peter standing up, taking a separate kind of role in many ways. So yeah, that's how it works here. But yeah, the only way I'm getting canned is if I do something really horrific, and they vote me out. And it should be that way. It seems like, man, it's a lot of job security, and you can do what you want. No, it's not. Like you can't do what you want. That's the whole point. And early on, I saw the handwriting on the wall, or the potential handwriting on the wall for, accusation and corruption. And so like my name's not on any accounts. I don't have access to the giving records. I don't have access to the checkbook. I don't have this is the first year in 15 years that I have a budget for like going out to lunch with people. And I put that in there because my plan was this year, come these summer months, like all of us as staff go out. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I just pay for my own, even if I meet with somebody outside of the church, and I have done that, and I'm still paying for my meals. But if I'm going to take you guys out, once or twice, just for like a staff lunch, something like that.
Tell me when.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even have a budget for myself. I don't have a book budget. I don't have a conference budget. Like I don't take any money from anything because I just don't want the accusation. And then Bob's got passwords to everything I have. He can get on my computer anytime, see what I'm doing for that kind of stuff. So yeah, keeping everything above board is the way to do it. But yeah, it's interesting. When I first moved in, we had policy governance. It was like a 50-page book of this is how you run the church. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. Like it's not, there's so much redundancy in things that we just didn't need. And like, it's tough because there is so much corruption. Yeah, I had somebody send me an email a while back, and they were yelling at me that I don't understand the sanctity of the pulpit and understand preaching because I make jokes in sermons sometimes, and the pulpit is to be edified, and the pulpit is to be set apart. And I'm sitting there reading this like, nah, that's the problem. is we keep elevating people. Like that's how you get abuse. That's how you get a lot of what we see in the megachurch culture. And so yeah, it's we don't want to do that because that just feeds into it. And then if you can get a bunch of people that are like, oh yeah, man, this guy, he hears directly from God and he knows, more than you do, then that leads to abuse, that leads to financial abuse. And you're zero to Ken Copeland in a couple of years, right? Just getting people to send you money. And yeah, I mean, our church is so generous. Like, I mean, even when we had all that health stuff going on with Henry, and people are constantly trying to buy us vacations. Like we were literally at a place yesterday where this person is like, you got it. We got this wonderful place. And they told me, where their place is. You guys can use it for free. It's like this $1 million lake house. I'm like, no. And it's like, well, why would you turn that down? Because you just don't want to start doing that exchange. People offer to pay for vacations. People offer to just give us thousands of dollars and just take none of it. It's not an ungrateful spirit. It's no, I'm just not comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to get that stuff. And I'm not kidding, dude. I had at least probably 6 or 7 people on Sunday. The moment that the line was like 400 people deep, they're like, why don't you just go back in the kitchen, just get yourself some food, or we'll get you your plate. That way you don't have to wait in line. And I'm like, oh, I'm not even eating. Like I'm not, I've eaten all my calories for the day, but people are, and it's done with genuine, I think they're just trying to be nice, But we're supposed to be last in line, and if there's food left, great.
Yeah.
There's not. So, yeah. I mean, if anybody's out there thinking about ministry, I get from time to time young people that are interested in ministry or people that are in their 20s that are looking into getting it. Like, accountability is huge for stuff like that. Like, make sure you're serving and not just taking, because it is a. We talked about it with that MacArthur video. Like, it is a job that has scripturally no authority. Scripture has authority, but it has massive influence. It does. And people will you can take advantage of people very, very quickly and very easily. And you want to do that. It's somebody had Sunday Fun Day. They're like, do a pastor's prayers count for more? And I'm like, I think they might count for less. I said, because we really know what to do and still don't do it. And that was a joke. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So yeah, fighting against that stuff. People try to give you stuff.
Not really like that. No.
Well, you got students.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have limited resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing, but
just the typical, like, and I think they'll do it for anybody on staff, like a Mitchell's card or something.
Yeah. That's very
Christmas
sweet.
and stuff like that. But
yeah. Yeah, and I'm very grateful. I hope this doesn't come across ungrateful and that people are doing that because they want a favor. That's not what I'm insinuating at all. I just know that the potential's there.
Yeah.
And when it comes to something like this, I just want to make sure that my nose is as clean. I got enough problems as it is. Like, I don't need any more for that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's wind this up.
Is this countdown for 2 hours or for the question time?
The question time. I forgot to advance it.
Oh, okay.
Hey now. Yeah, so I want to show this beatbox thing real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
I don't. What's this guy's name?
Hold on 1 second.
Those of you that are listening, you don't have to.
It says Wing.
Wing?
Yeah.
W-I-N-G? Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let me make sure. All right.
Dopamine.
I don't know if. Okay.
It's incredible.
Dopamine.
Come on.
How are you making that many noises at the same time? To be so fast.
I don't know how you don't pass out.
Dopamine.
That's
Unbelievable.
So
incredible.
So I don't know who Wing is. If you're still, we just lost most of our people. That's fine. I'm not promoting Wing at all. So don't be like, you guys are promoting Wing. I don't know anything about him. All I know is I saw this on Instagram. And this is not the beatboxing that I grew up with. Like the 90s rap beatboxing.
Yeah, it's very different.
Oh, it's
It's a very
crazy.
different artistic style with like EDM influence.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And so like I was like, there's no way that's real. Like this has got to be overdubbed. It's got to be. And he got so much flack for that he wound up doing a live stream with his cell phone.
Oh yeah.
And did it live.
Yeah.
And you can tell there's no edits. Like you can't. It was just him in a room, and doggone
Just his
it,
vocal cords.
doggone it if that wasn't real. When he's doing that thing, that build up in the beginning, I'm like, how? Like I'm, take a breath, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, watching a movie where somebody's like underwater, and you start to get that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. So, anyways, you beatbox like that or no?
No way.
Yeah, me neither.
But I love watching that.
Yeah, you should watch the whole thing. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, he's come up with reaction videos, on my feed of like
Oh, really?
people will watch and be like, "What is this? How
Doesn't
is
see.
it
Oh, so
good?"
you've seen that? Okay.
Yeah,
it's
I've
great.
seen
Had you seen that before, Edwin?
No, I
No?
haven't. Oh,
You ever tried doing that? You think you want to try it?
no.
Want to try that live on the air right now?
No, I'm good.
No?
30,000 Christmas lights is enough.
That's right. I like that during COVID, you had a baby and named it, and he put up Christmas lights.
You got it. Yeah.
That's
his baby.
That was your baby.
His project.
We ate a lot of cookies. Yeah. I think by the end of COVID, I'm like, I am way heavier than I want to be right now.
We all did.
Yeah. That's how it went.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We will not be podcasting next week. I know that we're like one a month right now. Thank you for your patience. I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for this. Edwin's going to be in vacation. He'll be at the Ark.
Yeah.
Guys, that's where he's going to be. And so we can't really do this without Edwin. He has, like I've said in the past, he's made himself indispensable. So good thing for job security. Way to go, bud. He just created a system that can only run with his fingerprint. So that's a good thing. No, but keep sending in questions. We actually got a pretty good backlog of questions right now. But if you have some questions, send them in. And we're going to, again, try to be more consistent. We've got a next week off, and then we should be able to podcast for a bit. And then I'm going on study break like mid-July. So I'll be out for 3 weeks. But you and Mark can do it if you want.
Okay.
But a huge thank you to Pastor Chad. Thank you, Edwin, for all your work. If you have questions, you can email podcast@hopechristianchurch.com, or you can text your question to 440-HOPE222. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will not see you next week, but we'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a great day.